involved in malfeasance as well as corruption. I can indicate that as this new leadership of the ANC in KwaZulu-Natal, we have also decided that we have created already a monitoring and evaluation subcommittee that will ensure that all those who are deployed by the ANC, be it in the government of provincial unity or in municipalities, they will be held to account to ensure that things like corruption are not happening. Where they occur, we will not hesitate to arraign those before the disciplinary committees of the ANC, but more importantly, that law enforcement must intervene. On the issue of the dumping of products by those countries, we will be meeting with the Minister of Trade, Industry and Competition to seek their advice as to how to deal with these matters, because the automobile industry in South Africa is very critical in order to ensure that this economy moves forward. In particular here in Durban, Toyota is very key in making sure that our communities who are employed are catered for this development and further enhancement on that. I may also add that tomorrow I'll be visiting the Toyota plant in Durban together with the special envoy of the President of Angola, Mr. Elias, in order to ensure that there is a business cooperation between South Africa and Angola, thereby ensuring that this inter-African trade and the Africa we want, our Agenda 2063, is implemented. So those issues are very much at the heart of what we want to see happening. Anc Kzn, my comrade, is still here. I'm actually shocked because I recall this project. I was still a government minister when Anand told me that he was buying or leasing a property here in Beachfront. That property, I still recall as if it was yesterday, used to belong to the Department of Defense. 20 years later, it ain't been done. I'm very shocked. So happily is that the metro, there are many deployees of the ANC in the metro. We will not hesitate to ensure that we find out precisely what has gone wrong, because it is totally unacceptable that a project that was conceptualized and decided upon so many years ago has not happened. As he was talking, I was just reminding myself that about 10 days ago, I was in Atlanta. I saw the studio of Tyler Perry in Atlanta. He started this studio in 2014. Same methodology. It used to belong to the Department of Defense, to Pentagon. And right now, in fact, I was so pleasantly surprised to see this studio there. They are shooting about two TV comms per month. They have built a replica of the White House to 80% of the scale of the White House in Washington, D.C. It's a marvel to see a black man who has built a new Hollywood in Atlanta, which is an envy of many studios. So I'm very saddened, Comrade Anand, that this has not happened. Which brings me back to the same issue, that those that are deployed by the ANC, if they do not perform their duties, we will not hesitate to recall them through this mechanism that I've talked to you about of monitoring and evaluation, as well as consequent management. Which brings me to the issue that Brian made also, in the same length. Andre Kipila, you remind me of 1992-93. We worked together, political parties and business here in the city of Durban. At the time, Margaret Winter was the mayor of the city of Durban. We worked very closely as political parties, the ANC. I was the chairperson of the ANC in Southern Natal. I worked very closely with the leader of the IFP, Mr. John Bengu, who is late now. We were called the Magnificent Seven. If you go to the ICC, there's a very beautiful picture, including myself. I still had hair and a mustache. Yeah, he took the photo, which is there. That ICC came as a result of the collaboration between the ANC, the IFP, and the city of Durban to build the ICC and the Hilton Hotel, as well as the earlier elements of the Point development. I think that example demonstrates that where there is a proper partnership between business and government, we can be able to achieve many things. So we should not be afraid of the role of the private sector. It is our partner in development. In any event, between 75 and 80% of the economy in South Africa is in private hands. So it is the driver of economic growth and also to ensure that they employ our people. Our larger role as government is to create a conducive environment for business to thrive. Planning, Comrade Belinda, is very key. So that's why I think we will support the issues of emphasizing on the issue of planning, because at a national level, there is a ministry that was established in 2009 called the Ministry of Planning, Monitoring and Evaluation, which I had the pleasure of being one between 2014 and 2018. Babu Dladla, we are cheap. Besebenza kakhulu no Babu Mavundla. Now we futhi, so we heard you very well what you are saying. Umamhlatshwayo, hayi ngibonile nawe inamba ngitholile nami inamba yakho. Ngizokufonela. Sixoxe le ndaba yale khiqizo owutholile. Capacity of the youth is very critical for the future. A country that does not cater for its youth does not deserve a future. So that point, Memela, you are spot on that we need to ensure that we leave no stone unturned in empowering our young people, because these are the ones who are the future of this country. And lastly, I do know that the Minister of Transport, Barbara Chris and Transnet, they're dealing with this issue of SAPREF. Where it is, I'm not certain at this moment in time, but I do know that it is of the essence. So I will be able to have a pep talk with Minister Barbara Chris to find out what is happening on SAPRA, so that we can be able, if government is unable to continue with it, let's get the private sector to do that. We, as the hub in eThekwini, as well as Richards Bay, there is a huge investor appetite in the oil and gas. So as a former Minister of Energy, I will be supporting those initiatives to ensure that we can be able to deliver proper services for our people. And I do know that the Chief Executive Officer of the Richards Bay zone there, Mr. Tabanizu, is very keen to explaining more about the possibilities that exist in Richards Bay for the private sector to become partners of government, because clearly all these major investment, government does not have the resources to do that. We don't even have a budget as we speak. So let's get the private sector to pump in resources for the benefit of all of us as partners. I thank you for your attention.
Well, thank you very much, Program Director Bongane. First and foremost, let's say that we want to appreciate the interaction. It has been very heartwarming, riveting, and at times it has been the kind of interaction that says we needed to be able to have this continuous engagement. And we will ensure that we do have a continuous engagement. I said earlier, there is a saying, heavy lies the head that wears the crown. We understand the enormity of the task that lies ahead. We have no illusions about the task at hand. But what are we taking out here? Bongane has just indicated in the response that we are committed in engaging and dealing with issues of corruption and having the issues of consequence management. When we prioritize local government and our role in every aspect of government where we are going to be participating, it's because the ANC means business. Of course, there will always be a separation between the party and the state. We will not make a mistake for anyone to want us to interfere in procurement issues because we respect the rule of law. The ANC must be the first to do so. But in acting, we also have to act on the basis that every person is subjected to an audi alteram patem. All sides must be heard. We will not be expedient. We will work on the basis of facts at hand. We will act without fear or favor, but we will not go overboard. And therefore, we will act in the just and acceptable manner. And that is how measured leadership must be, and we shall exercise it in that context. The second issue is that we are saying, yes, we will then have further meetings with all components of business. Here we brought together the various facets of business. People from Santaco, the farming sector, the small business sector, the vendors, and everybody. There are going to be particular issues that we will have to specifically engage with a particular component of business. So we will definitely from today onwards be setting those engagements and interact with the business community on that score. But we will also interact with organized business. In other words, the chambers, on some of the issues of trade and issues of imports, because those are also governed by both the international rules of trade in terms of the TRIPS agreements and the various kinds of agreements that are there, which are part of the WTO. So in doing that, we would like to ensure that trade in its nature is reciprocal, ladies and gentlemen. When we trade with other countries and when they trade with us, we also must expect that at times we will look at issues that may affect us negatively, but we must understand that we can't change the rules solely because we may be affected somewhat. We have to be rational, logical, in dealing with these matters. So, but we will engage in areas where we are being hurt the most and see how we manage that. But of course, South Africa has an anti-dumping act. And anyone who dumps into our market, who doesn't follow an anti-dumping act and acting in breach, there is a way in which we can take those matters through the necessary diplomatic channels. Again, there are diplomatic channels for us to deal with that, where we can interact with countries. So then the issue of dealing with the investment that my brother and friend Anc Kzn has raised. We appreciate your issue, Anand, but we also appreciate that the issue is twofold. There is a party that may have run its course you and I would know because of the long legal battle that ended up in the Constitutional Court. It is important, Pungane, that I bring that element because I was MEC when this transaction began. So there was quite a lot of contestation. We and I knows that a bigger chunk of the time because of that legal battle. But we must also accept that there is work that needs to be done. We have a letter that we have received, and we want to say to you, we will, in the next 3 weeks, be able to convene a meeting in another capacity, not the one I'm standing on today, in another capacity. Convene a meeting of the eThekwini Pre-Work Presidential eThekwini Brokering Unit to start a process of discussing and bringing all role players. What we will do in resolving matters is to bring the parties together. Because in every matter there are three sides. There is an allegation, there is a counter, and the middle lies the truth. All of those three sides must be heard. And for us, in solving the issues, we have to traverse all of those three sides. But we want to actually move quicker so that we can find a way in which that matter. And I'm glad you have given me a letter in my other capacity, and we will then facilitate that. As Belinda has said, in our past, in our experience, there are matters we've dealt with expeditiously, but we have to bring all of the parties in one room and then to resolve this matter. Now, we are determined to fix the challenges are facing our municipalities and to actually allow that our municipalities focus on clean government. The 7 issues I raised, and I'm not going to repeat it, are about us prioritizing that sphere of government and ensuring that where we govern, even where we don't govern, we are saying we are putting our people first. And therefore we will put our people first, and we're not about putting the elite, we're about putting our people, all of them. So we're not distinguishing people on the basis of your status in society, and we are concerned with all of our citizens. And equally so, the ANC, in its response, will respond in a manner that deals with the people's issues, particularly on issues of governance and clean governance. Now, the next issue that we take here is that there are issues that we have agreed that as the ANC, we will actually be able to deal with. We have listened very clearly on the plea from NAFCOC, and we think we will then engage. Uprapol nami sisuka engakabi ngala sasihlala ndawonye ngala wayene tavern elichisayo lapha esikhaweni kwaPaul kodwa ngangingayi ke kulona ngangidlula nje ngiyalazi ngoba ngangingayingeni kulona kodwa wakwaziyo ukuthi so he did apologize. He won't become here and know that, but we will engage with you because we are committed in deepening transformation. We are committed in ensuring that we all share in the spoils of this economy. And therefore that we must build an economy that creates opportunities for us all. Not for some, but for us all. And therefore it is a journey that we all should partner, particularly at the private sector level, that the space is created for all components. The state is but one player, albeit we are only responsible for the 29% of the total GDP output, and the bulk of it is in private hands. So, but we are committed in actually ensuring that transformation is deepened in the economy. Now, we are also, listen very carefully, in one of the sectoral engagements that is going to be still conducted is a sectoral engagement with women, as women, a sectoral engagement with youth and young people, because young people have got a lot of challenges that we all require to deal with it in the same way as women, but a sectoral engagement with the senior citizens. Now, in dealing and responding to issues of young people, and we've been discussing this even including yesterday, and I'm glad I can see the chairperson of the ANC Youth League in our midst, Comrade Untawazwa Ngcobo, to say that we want, when we prepare for that sectoral engagement, we like young people themselves to actually come and sponsor some of their own initiatives and ideas. but all of us then participating in resolving, for instance, the biggest challenge of youth unemployment. But amongst others, but also dealing with issues of young people's economic empowerment, because they are the future of this country. So the ANC is very clear that the future lies with young people. And therefore, we should be able to ensure that young people are catapulted, and therefore they are given opportunities and exposed to those opportunities. So I have listened on that issue. We'll take that issue, and then as we prepare for the sector with young people, and we hope that young people will also come up with their own ideas so that we are not accused of being paternalistic. The issue around SAPREF, let me say this, we are following the matter because we are aware that the Department of Mining Resources at national level did actually acquire SAPREF in particular. And therefore, in that process, there is an engagement we have started as a province just to be able to suss out what is the kind of the strategic direction in the future. We all know that South Africa now is no longer refining crude oil. We are actually importing finished commodities. In the sense that we are no longer actually refining our own crude oil, you are actually having a scenario where we have to think carefully and say what then happens with the future of these two refineries. But this is an egg and a chicken situation. And then you will agree with me, gentlemen, there. Some of you in the South have been vocal against these refineries. When I was MEC, we had to actually sit around with some of, I don't mention them, their names, but they were vocally against it. Now it is closed. We are also still vocally, because we are complaining in the sense that the economy that was there is no longer there. But it's exactly what we warned about. At some point as society, there are times where we must take responsibility as well, because it is easy to pass the buck. Now, I'm saying passing the buck is that when people rise and say, well, there is, we accepted that there was pollution, and therefore you had to change those things. But if you then actually cut the hand that feeds you, of course we are going to have difficulties. But I'm saying let's work together. The ANC says we'll have to work together to try and see how we deal with that issue. That matter is handled at national level, and we're interacting with them. And through the ETC that is chaired by Comrade Anc, we will be getting involved in that process together with the national government. And the last part, therefore, is that we really want to say we are inviting business. We have a campaign, our Fridays with communities. This ANC is not an ANC that wish to simply talk amongst ourselves and fraternize with ourselves. We are an ANC that understands that we must actually be working with society and we must serve society. We want to exercise servant leadership. We are about nothing else but serving our people. Now, we would invite you, because there is a part that must be done by government, but there's a part that we as society must also be able to contribute. I.e., we must contribute in making our own environment habitable. That it must be clean, it must be conducive, and therefore we are going through the ANC structures. We will have campaigns where we go to communities to clean parks, to clean the areas that we live, to assist in cutting veggies and all of those things. We're not saying we're going to be taking the work of the state. Yes, we are going to make our own government where we govern to be able to do that, but even where we don't govern, we will actually be vocal in ensuring that we lead the issues of the people, that those who govern must also respond positively to those issues. But we also want to inspire society to also take responsibility. So when we go there, can we invite you to come with your trucks so that you can assist us in the cleaning and doing that? So if we truly partner, that's why we're inviting business to partner with us. So you truly partner with us. So you see an ANC in action, not an ANC you see on television, not an ANC you hear in radio, an ANC that is visible, an ANC that lives amongst the people, an ANC that breathes amongst the people. That is the type of the ANC we are leading. That is the ANC we want. And Please partner with us in that. And as I conclude, I want to conclude by saying, we are meeting with civil society tomorrow because we started with the professionals last week, Tuesday. We met with the religious leaders last week, Wednesday. We met with traditional leaders last Thursday. We are meeting with business today. We're meeting with civil society tomorrow. We're meeting with opinion makers and opinion leaders and thought leaders on Thursday, depending on some circumstances. But then we're going to have the other sector of women, youth, and then the senior citizens. But we'll have a category of those who are the LGBTQI community as well as the disabled, people living with disability. And that means we have a rolling program of action of reconnecting with society. Please join us in the reconnection. We understand the task. The task that faces us says, heavy lies the head that wears the crown. So we understand the magnitude of the task, and we understand how heavy lies this in the head that wears the crown. We wear the crown, we understand what goes with it. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, convener and the coordinator, for the commitment that you've just made, that we're still going to have engagements with the business sector and everybody else. Thank you very much. We'll now ask Comrade Nomalungelo Gina, who's the Deputy Minister of Science and Technology and also a member of the PTT and Innovation. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mamwezi, the Program Director, the first Deputy Coordinator, Convene. Thank you very much. Greetings to the leadership and greetings to the very important sector, the business people of our province, and everyone that is here. For me, it's just to thank everyone that is here, but let me first thank the leadership of our province. Really, I think you'll all agree with me as to say this is the very important platform that we have been afforded this morning. Firstly, it is a platform that they have opened for us to network. The fact that we are gathered here, it's the big businesses, small businesses, we are here to share, they can share their experiences. Let's make use of this opportunity. Amongst us, we have got even the banks. We have small businesses here that still even need funding. Grab them. We've got banks from Angola. They are here. They want investments. I'm happy the CEO is smiling. He's waiting for you to say, how can we partner with them? They want to come, and I was happy even engaging with them before we started. They even want to come and open the bank in South Africa, wanting to engage with us even more. Let us not leave them before they even come and open such in South Africa. They are willing to open up. So I know when you talk to business people, you are ever open to assist each other. So this is the critical platform where I believe you won't go out of that door being the same as you entered. So do network. But for me, it's to thank everyone for the good deliberations that we have had. Thank you very much to our leadership. For me, seated down there, hearing the discussions, hearing the commitments that our leadership, the African National Congress, is making to you as the business people. But what was even more heartwarming is to hear you, our business people, still having that commitment towards the African National Congress And for me, to be open the way you have done, showing us where the loopholes are and where can we still work together, where can we still fix this vehicle. We are fixing the aeroplane that is already in the air, but you are saying, let the aeroplane not to land. Let us fix it while it is on flight. We are willing to do that. We have listened to what has been said. The ANC is committed, and as it has been said, we even have the subcommittee that deals with the economic transformation in the province, working with this leadership that we have. We will be holding several meetings to make sure that we fix where we are supposed to be fixing when it comes to listening to the business sector in our province. So thank you very much. Really, I was not here to give the speech, but we are here to say we have heard, we have listened, and we are committed to walk this journey with you. We are committed to build. We are committed to bounce back. Like you have said, NAFCOG, we're in a renewal process. Just as you have said, you have renewed yourselves. We are committing. We are going to renew the ANC. We are going to bridge the gap between us as the ANC and the communities and the whole of the sectors that we have. So thank you very much, really, for showing this commitment and the trust in the African National Congress. As you drive back, be safe, be willing to always work with the ANC. ANC will always love you, we love you, and will always believe in you. Thank you very much, Program Director.
Thank you very much, Comrade Nomalungelo. We now have to have breakfast. Breakfast is served. Bon appetit.